When we get a conviction in a case, our office allows victims to do what's called a victim impact statement, where they get to address the court, address the defendant, and give their feelings about how these crimes impacted them, their families, their jobs, their whole life. And Jennifer went to preparing it immediately. Unfortunately, you already had it done by the time he committed suicide. And we asked to see it because we knew she wasn't going to be able to read it. And the prosecutors that deal with our sexual assault cases and anybody in our office who read it, especially me, having been there for 30 years at the time, it was the most compelling, and to this day, the most well-written. You might need the Kleenex. I know I did when I read it. It's just incredible, and it speaks so loudly. So I'm going to let Jennifer finish with it.
These are the words I would have spoken to Trice if I had been able to in the courtroom. We are all responsible for our own actions, no matter what our environment growing up, no matter what our life circumstances. There comes a time in our lives when we are considered adults and we begin to make choices and decisions for ourselves. These decisions and choices make us each unique. Through these decisions, we define ourselves. Through the repercussions and ramifications of our choices, we are remembered. Our lives are defined and we are remembered by the influence we have on others. I am an artist. I recently said I am who I am because of you and in spite of you. I spent a few years after you raped me letting my fear of you rule my life. I was bent on self-destruction. I felt afraid and angry because of what you had done to me and what you would do to other women if you were not stopped. Some simple words from a friend made me realize that my self-destruction was empowering you and destroying the very thing that made me, me. I made the decision to change. Eventually, I chose to try to take back what you stole from me. I chose to live without looking over my shoulder. Although it was difficult to work through and let go of my fear, I did the best I could. I made the decision to surround myself with supportive friends and family, and I started to focus my attention on my talents. I used my talent to recreate worlds where my fear of you does not exist. Over the past 22 years, I have created a world of light, color, texture through watercolor paintings, photography, and fabric art. I made the decision in spite of you, in spite of what you did to me, and because of you, because of what you did to me, to focus on the things in my life that brought light to the dark and frightening memories. My obsession with painting, quilting, and photography is my way of keeping my life in the light, despite the fact that you made me afraid of the dark. It is through my artwork that I have been able to dispel many of my fears that you had instilled in me. And although I painted beautiful gardens, and I've been told that many of my paintings give the impression that something unexpected is about to happen or has just happened, some have gone so far as to say they are unsettling. This was not intentional, but I was not surprised to hear these remarks. I look at my painting as a kind of therapy, a way to displace my fears. No doubt the very fear I was working through made its way into my paintings, but little by little, they were less about you and more about me. In spite of any good you may have done in your life, it is by the horrible choices that you have made that you will be remembered. Because it is true that we are responsible for our actions, it is also true that we are responsible for the repercussions of our actions. It is impossible to know how many people have been affected by what you have done. The ramifications of your behavior are still echoing, and this time they have begun to rip through your family and friends. You are now making them painfully aware of the evil and dark side of your life. Everyone here today and previous days has been affected by your actions, and who knows when or if the rippling effects will stop. Some have taken from this an awareness that their safety may be more vulnerable than they imagined. Others have been moved to tears and angry frustration, but none has been more affected than me. You made me brutally aware of the evil in this world and the darkness that dwells within you and others like you. And even though I have spent the past 2 decades recreating my world through my artwork, I was given a daily reminder of you. I surmise it was a higher power's way of letting me know that the strength of my creative power is equal to the terror that I felt that night. It won't be too long now before the rest of my hair turns completely gray and I'll no longer be reminded of you every time I pass a mirror. Somehow that night I knew that I'd be a key player in stopping you. Unfortunately, I was unable to do this before you raped again. I told the events of that night in this courtroom in front of friends, family, counsel, judge, and jury in honor of those who were not in the courtroom with me. And I relived the nightmare for those who walked with me every step of the way so they too could heal from the hurt that you have caused. It is because of me that you are here today. You probably hate me, and I wouldn't be surprised if you blame me for your fate, but you are responsible for that. One word at a time, I gave back the evil you left with me that night and filled that space with the combined love, strength, and empowering courage given by my family and friends. Remember, it was you who chose to stalk and spy on me. It was your decision to climb onto my car and onto the balcony and make your way into my home. It was your decision to hide on the stairs until you could sneak into my bedroom and attack from the shadows. It was you who decided to try and suffocate me, and it was your decision to rape me. It was also your choice to continue to terrorize other women and children. You are responsible for the choices you have made. You are responsible for your actions. At any given time, you could have made different choices. You could have chosen not to do any of this. In spite of any good you may have done in your life, it is by these horrible choices that you will be remembered. I used to have nightmares of a faceless monster that pursued me in the dark, you, but not anymore. Although I like to have doors wide open so I know no one's hiding behind them, and I continue to turn lights on when I walk into a room and keep night lights on around the house, that's all you get. You are no longer a larger-than-life monster who springs unaware from the shadows. You are small, sad, and pathetic. You are a monster, to be sure, but you are no longer able to terrorize. I am an artist who will continue to invent worlds full of color and light. My life as an artist has been rewarding to myself and influential to others. I hope to continue to inspire others. I suppose in some way I have you to thank because my success as an artist and the strength of my creative power is equal to the terror you made me feel that night. I am an artist, that is my legacy. You are a rapist. This is how the world will remember you. Thank you.